Hi, I'm Alex.
And I'm Kris, and you're watching
Thanks, We Hate It with Alex and Kris. 2010's today.
Yep, kicking off our countdown of worst of the decades.
Oh gosh.
We're going to start with the 2010s, because the 2020s aren't over yet, but
Nope.
I already know some worst of the 2020s.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, more time needs to pass, but there's still enough out there.
Yeah. To be fair, I didn't include, Human Centipede and all those, because I'm not going to like them anyway. So it's not fair for me to put them on the worst, because they might be good movies objectively. They're not for me. So I did try to steer away from those that it's just like, oh, I don't like it because I don't like it, I wanted to be objective. What is the worst horror of the decade?
Yes.
And I did try to stick to movies that I had seen, because it's only fair to judge movies that you had seen. So if there's a movie on here you've seen, you're like, why are you not bringing this up? Because we didn't see it.
Right. Yes. That is correct. I also did the same thing. Like, the movies that I have on here, I have seen all of them, and, yeah.
For better or worse.
Yeah, I've got opinions.
All right, let's get into it. Number 5.
Okay, number 5, I really need to talk about Mama from 2013.
Okay.
By Guillermo del Toro.
Mm-hmm.
So Guillermo del Toro is awesome. I'm just going to put that out there right now. I'm going to establish that fact. He is very talented, has a lot of great movies. Love his concepts of creatures and, just the general, fantasy mixed with horror is fucking amazing. Pan's Labyrinth is so fucking good. It's one of my favorites by him. God, it's so fun. I just love it so much. But Mama was... I feel like he really... I'm trying to think... He was lazy. Let's just put it that way. He was lazy with it. And surprisingly enough, this got a 63% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I just didn't buy it. Like, I was like, this is just boring to me. There wasn't enough creature. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because when you make something like Pan's Labyrinth, where it is just full of just creatures, intricate creature designs, intricate makeup, it just combined with, a dope-ass story and a little girl, come on. Like, that's awesome. Like, that's so fucking cool. And then, to go from, like, this cool, like, little girl who has this fantasy,
Alice
in this
in Wonderland
fantasy
in
land.
hell.
Yeah, like, who has this cool, creatures in fantasy land, to Mama, where it's, like, these two kids, who have a mom who's basically a paranormal figure. I don't know. I feel like going from, like, something like Pan's Labyrinth to this...
Yeah, it's a step backwards.
It really is. It's like, I kind of feel like at this point it was more for just like, yeah, I just want to try this. I want to try this concept. Right. Yeah, I peaked, at Pan's Labyrinth, but now I want to,
Yeah, because I didn't really like Shape of Water either.
I have only seen bits and pieces of Shape of Water. I actually haven't fully watched it, so I don't have an opinion on it.
It was okay. Like, I don't think it should have gotten all the Oscar buzz and stuff that it got. Like, It was okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go. Number 5.
All right, so my number 5 is Texas Chainsaw 3D from 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got a 40% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is kind of high. It's a direct sequel to the original, ignoring movies 2 through 4, and then the remake timeline as well. It has nothing to do with the remake timeline either.
Oh, the flowchart? The flowchart for Texas Chainsaw is insane.
Yeah, everybody talks about, Halloween. No, Halloween's got distinct timelines.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck is the Texas Chainsaw timeline?
It's so fucked up. Same thing with, same thing with the George Romero films, too.
Right.
Like, the flowchart with the Dead films.
Crazy. Just insane.
I could go on for hours on that, but obviously we're not.
The only cool thing, I did like the opening where they recreated from like plans and the movie. They recreated the home. And Gunnar Hansen had a cameo. And so did Bill Moseley.
Yes.
And that part was great. I love that. And so I saw that and I was like, okay, cool. This movie's gonna be good. And then it was not.
No.
It was not. Everything after the beginning that happens in present day is just so incredibly stupid. the baby from the original, if we're following the timeline, should be in her 40s. But this girl's clearly in her 20s. So what this one is doing, the baby, this one, remember, this one is like the day after what happens in the original. So they've all gathered, like the whole family is gathered in the house in the beginning to like do the standoff or whatever. And there's a woman there with the baby.
Yes.
And that's where the baby comes from. So they're implying that the baby was there from the beginning, which again is still 40 years ago.
Shown, right, 40 years ago, and B, never even shown in the original.
Right.
So now you're opening up a whole nother can of worms and a whole nother timeline. That was where I was going at, because I was like,
because supposedly it's supposed to have the baby. Yeah, supposedly it's supposed to have nothing to do with the new timeline. It's off of the original. It's supposed to be a direct sequel to the original.
Like, you're a direct sequel, but you're still creating, like, a mini new timeline.
Exactly.
From the direct original.
Exactly.
And fuck that.
Texas Chainsaw's a mess, guys. It's a mess. And this girl, if she had just read that goddamn letter that the lawyer left her, which the lawyer's the only cool character in the present day.
It was a jump to conclusions, Matt.
He's awesome in the movie. And he's like, read this letter. It's really important. Read this letter. Oh, I will. Doesn't read the letter till like the end when it's too late. The only other cool thing about this movie is Marilyn Burns plays the mother or grandmother or whatever. But she's only at the very end. Like, I don't know. But if the girl just read the goddamn... And why do they pick up this random hitchhiker in the beginning that they almost hit with their car? Okay, I get it. You're going to give him a ride because he's not going to sue you for almost hitting him with his car. But then they get to this house that she's inherited, and they're all like, we need to go to town for snacks or whatever. And they leave the random hitchhiker you just met in your new mansion that you inherited. And the first thing he does is try to ransack it. Like, I'm glad that he died. Like, I'm glad that Leatherface got him.
Yeah, I was really hoping that.
But why? Why do you leave a stranger in your brand new mansion while you go to town to get snacks? Like, dude, watch the place for us. Bye. It's the stupidest decisions in this whole movie.
The amount of trust that you put into this complete stranger is alarming.
And the scene where she's running and she's constantly tripping, like she falls down the stairs and then she like tries to jump the gate in the cemetery and like trips, and I'm like, this girl.
Yeah, and to be fair though, like, okay,
I hated her.
Alexandra Daddario.
I did not like her. I like her in other things I've seen her in. I did not like her in this.
I don't think she's great in horror. I'm really not gonna lie about it.
No, she plays bitchy high school girl or whatever really well. I've seen her do that.
Mm-hmm. Basically just, you're right. Bitchy high school, just really bitchy, like,
I don't know, but there's
catty, type of just young adult. Like, I feel like she doesn't really belong in horror. She doesn't do a great job.
And what was the carnival scene where they had that like Saw reference? Do you remember where he chases her into the carnival and there's like a haunted house and some guy in a pig mask from Saw comes out with his own chainsaw and like has a little standoff with him?
Oh, yeah.
Like, guys, no. Keep my Saw movies out of this mess. Like,
why are we paying homage to another fucking
that has nothing to do, like, chainsaws have nothing to do with Saw, guys. Like, I know Saw is in the title, but chainsaws have very little to do with
I did not understand why they had
that reference there.
Put a nod there. Yeah, that's weird.
Right.
Not a great decision.
And then the end where the main bad guy, because they set up this like Hatfield and McCoy thing also as a retcon where there's these two families and the Sawyers have been quarreling with them the whole time. And so the main bad guy's like the sheriff or whatever, and he falls into like a meat grinder. Worst CGI I've ever seen in my life. And that line when she kicks throws,
and she's like, do your thing,
cuz.
That's so fucking cringe.
I just hate this movie. Like,
that's like beyond cringe.
Right.
Yeah, I can't, guys. Like, no, I'm on that same wavelength. Like, this one was pretty fucking weak, and it's obvious that they were doing it to cater to teen audiences. Mm-hmm. It was obvious. It's like, you did not give a shit creatively about this at all. You just wanted the buku bucks that you could make off the Texas Chainsaw name.
I just, like, so much could have been fixed if they just made the girl a 40-year-old. Like,
get rid of the baby, too.
Why couldn't it have been Sally's kid? Why couldn't it? She survived, she went off, had a kid, and then the kid goes to, like, she dies or whatever, and the kid goes to investigate his mom's life or something. Like,
that would have I would have taken that. I would have taken that
simple.
Over the fucking baby shit. Like, I really would have. Like, I don't know why. I can't I can't do that. Like, you created a whole mini timeline from from the original movie, and I just feel like that's more fucked up.
A whole lot of retconning, because, like I said, they have the Hatfield-McCoy type thing going on now.
I feel like that's just more fucked up and more stupid.
It is. The whole thing's stupid. Let's move on. Number 4. What's your number 4?
My number 4, I'm gonna go with 3 from Hell. Yes, I'm gonna bring up Rob Zombie again.
It's a bad movie, guys.
I'm not sympathizing with these people.
Nope.
I'm fucking sorry. They're shitty. They're not even the fun shitty. Nope. They're like the bottom of the barrel, like, oh my god, not even fun, sociopathic shitty.
I think the epitome of their funness was the ice cream scene in Devil's Rejects.
Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's the epitome of them being light and fun. Everything else that they've done in all 3 movies, the Firefly family, like, they're not good people.
No, and I did not grow close to them at all. I didn't like their characters. I didn't sympathize with them at all. Like, I just don't get it, I guess. I wasn't rooting for them.
Nope.
At all. And the films, that Rob Zombie made, he didn't even, in my opinion, do it right in terms if he wanted the audience to sympathize.
Right.
At first you're sympathizing with the victims, and now all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, am I really giving a shit about the killers here?
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
This movie gave me Stockholm Syndrome.
Right, exactly. So there are ways to do that correctly.
Right.
But not with 3 from Hell.
No.
This is just
There's no sympathy for the Fireflies. All right, so my number 4 is Luigi from 2014.
God, that movie's shit.
It's got a 24% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. This is a bad movie, guys. It's just a bad movie all around. This one
I did see, and
the switch up of the little girl being the evil one, the randomness of the ghost's powers and what it can and can't do, the possessions, and the ghost of Deb coming to help in the end. It's it's so stupid. It's just all so stupid.
It's really dumb.
They rely on jump scares to the point where you're not even scared anymore. You're just expecting them.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yep. And they aren't even very good jump scares either. They're
very cheap shots, really.
And the thing is I'm intrigued by the Ouija board. I always have been.
Yes.
So I was very excited when this movie came out. I thought it was going to be super cool, and it wasn't. So I think that's a lot of why I'm holding on to this movie sucks, is because I was expecting such a better movie, which they gave us with the sequel.
Yes.
The sequel, Origin of Evil, is actually a good movie.
I haven't seen, so I have no idea.
But Ouija, I would say skip this and just watch Origin of Evil. Like, you don't need to watch this. It's nothing. It's literally nothing of a movie.
Yeah.
At all. It
just basically took the title of a popular thing, a popular,
it's like Battleship,
item.
when they made the Battleship movie. That movie sucked ass. But, like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. They're like, oh, well, people will see it just because it's got the name of the game in it.
Right.
And they were right, we did, but it was not a good movie.
No, and I totally agree with you there. Like, Ouija boards are fucking dope. And I actually have some really cool ones that I do have, like, on display at home. I have on my wall. Like, I love the look of them. I love the aesthetic, the art, all of it. I have a planchette tattoo. So I love Ouija boards a stupid amount. But no, the fact that they made this movie, like, I already knew. Like, when I saw that it was about to, like, this new movie, Ouija, I was like, that's gonna suck ass.
I had hopes. All right, so what's your number 3?
My number 3 is The Thing from 2011.
Yep, for sure.
So you're gonna make this movie, just call it The Thing, and claim that it's a prequel?
No, guys, no.
What are you doing?
It's so bad.
What are you fucking doing?
It was so bad.
I was very upset. The original, well, I mean, to be fair, there's like two originals.
The John Carpenter.
The John Carpenter's The Thing is phenomenal. I love the shit out of the movie. Fun fact, I saw that movie for the first time at a drive-in theater. Yeah, because I knew it was on my list, of course. Like, it was on my mental list of, the classics that I needed to watch.
Right.
And again, this was a long time ago before I really fucking immersed myself in horror. So I was like, okay, well, cool. It's playing at the drive-in. We have that local drive-in in Illinois, in Dixon, Illinois. So I was so excited. I was so excited to see it. I was like, yeah, it'll be fun. And let me tell you guys, it's an experience to be watching older movies like that and at a drive-in in 2016, 2017, is when I saw it at the time. That is an experience because in a sense you kind of feel like you're just being catapulted back to that was how you watched movies. That was that was where you went,
It's so funny, the age difference, because she's like, it's amazing, and like, I saw so many movies at the drive-in as a kid, because drive-ins were everywhere when I was a kid.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have that, and it's disappointing to me, really. I really wish I could have had that as a kid, genuinely. It does break my heart a little bit.
Yeah, the one we went to in Chicago, it had a little playground, so we would get there before the sun went down. My mom would have our seats and go get the snacks. My dad would take us to the park, and
hell yeah.
Because it was always a double feature, so the first one was like a family movie, and then the second one was like one they wanted to watch, and we'd be passed out in the back by then, except for Death Becomes Her. That was, I forget what the movie we went to see for the kids, but Death Becomes Her was the sequel, and I wound up staying up and watching it because I liked it.
So cool! Oh my god, that's awesome!
Death Becomes Her is an amazing movie.
I have not seen it, but I've heard it's awesome. Yeah. No, it's on my list.
You have
to. It's on my list.
You have to.
And a lot of people have told me, Alex, you would fucking love that movie.
You have to.
And I know I would. I just haven't had a chance to watch it.
Oh god, have to. Alright, my number 3 is Smiley.
Oh, fuck.
From 2012. It has a 30% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, you guys. That's disappointing.
I forgot that movie existed.
Yeah, I hate this movie. It's basically about a group of online trolls. Like, it's the whole they fake their deaths and are really the bad guys thing. It's a super stupid reveal in this movie, and it's been done better in other movies, where it's like, we faked our deaths and we're really the bad guy. Like, that's been done, and it's been done way better than this.
Hands down.
And I think the addition of calling them, like, they were a branch of Anonymous or whatever, like, guys, Anonymous has better shit to do than create their own creepypasta, like, villain.
Yeah, and they're a lot more influential.
Right.
A lot more influential, and I don't know, they focus on real issues.
Right.
They're not wasting their damn time writing spooky stories.
Right.
Like, no, they actually care.
We're gonna create our own creepypasta and doing it for the lulz 3 times was their thing to, like, bring the smiley face killer. Like, they couldn't even be original about how they summon their killer. Like, that's just Bloody Mary, guys. It's a stupider version of Bloody Mary.
I was gonna say, like, you're basically
just
like
doing
it for the
lulz.
Yeah.
Like, it's a movie about online trolls. That turn out to be, they created this whole thing just as a joke for the lulz, and they wind up killing the main girl, or so we think, because there's an end credit scene where she wakes up, like, they think they're the MCU, and they're gonna be starting their own universe here. Like, come on. No. This movie sucked ass. I saw it because I thought the mask was cool, but it's cool in, like, the previews and stuff. In the movie, it doesn't seem as cool. Like, I hate this movie. All right, what's your number 2?
My number 2, I have to talk about Burdemic.
Oh, yeah. I
have to, guys. This one's obvious. It's not even along the lines of so bad it's good. It's like, it's so bad it's bad. Like, it's a train wreck, and it's so fucking cringy. Again, not the good cringe, and the messages are beyond in your face. Like, there's no, like, this person had no idea how to write subtlety or direct subtlety. No. They had no fucking idea. And It was obvious. It was very apparent in this film. And it went from this, oh, okay, it's kind of a romantic comedy to let's just add a bunch of killer fucking birds and talk about the environment a lot.
Right.
And it's just, God.
Right. Okay, guys, I don't like Alfred Hitchcock, but he already did this movie and he did it better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, yes. But no, like, Burdemic, god damn. I don't know what the fuck. I mean, and obviously, low budget.
Right.
Obviously, indie.
But I think even
shitty.
bad CGI for indie, like...
Oh, yeah, I've seen better CGI for lower budget films.
Right.
You know, so that's why I'm like, okay, I don't know where or how this film director cut corners, but they did not do it right.
Right.
And
they would have been better off throwing like stuffed birds at people off screen. Like,
I would have taken that. Other than just like a fucking overlay image
of birds just sitting there flapping.
You know, and it's extra funny too because like in some scenes it just shows like the birds like they're like it's like the airplane sounds. It's like it's like what the fuck. Oh my god, that shit is so fucking funny. And I like cry laugh every time I see clips of it. Yep. Or just it's so fucking bad. God fucking damn it.
Alright, my number 2, and this one's a personal one for me. Curse of La Llorona. From 2019. It's got a 30% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm half Hispanic. I'm obviously white passing thanks to the German English side of my dad's side of the family, but my mom's side of the family is Hispanic. And so I grew up with the legend of La Llorona. So I've heard it since I was a kid, and versions of her story actually go all the way back to like the Aztec Empire. Yes. So there's a lot of history that they could have explored here, and instead they just made a generic horror movie, and threw her and her legend in. They could have explored her story, her legend. They could have made a movie about that. They could have explored the legend of her being passed down through the generations. They could have, it could have been a whole bunch of stuff, and it was a boring, by the numbers horror movie. Like, it sucked.
Yeah.
Linda Cardellini did great in this movie, but the rest of the cast, not good.
Yeah.
I was so personally disappointed for this because I was excited that they were finally making a movie about this legend that I'd heard since I was a kid. The first time I heard it, we were down in Texas visiting some family, and my cousin, who was older than me, told me about it because, want to scare the littler kids. And I was like, tell me more.
I think with La Llorona it is obviously among the... It rides along the paranormal subgenre of horror, and that's why I probably haven't watched it. So I'm kind of just sitting here like
ghost stories. I'm fine with ghost stories. Yeah. It's the possession and stuff because she doesn't possess people. Like in the legend, she doesn't possess people. She steals children. Like and she's looking for her children, and she drowned her children in the river. And it's a whole thing. La Llorona means the weeping woman, basically, in Spanish. And so you hear her cries on the wind, by this river that she drowned her kids. And it's all kinds of creepy stuff. It's a creepy ghost story, and that's not what they treated it as. They treated it was a major disappointment for me, is why it's number 2 on my list.
I don't blame you. I've never seen it, so honestly I don't have an opinion.
Yeah, you don't need to.
That's cool. That's fine with me. Oh, gosh. Okay, so what are we on now?
Number 1.
All right. The 2010 remake of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
There are so many reasons. Many reasons why this was pure and utter horseshit. Freddy Krueger looks like shit.
And there's no fun. This movie is not fun in any way.
No, there's no, gimmicky, there's no jokes, there's no personality to this Freddy Krueger. There is zero personality to this guy. Again, like you were saying before, like kind of like the 2010s, like they were trying to be extra serious.
Yep.
You know, they were trying to stray away from the fun, campy side of a lot of these slasher movies.
Right.
Which is not... it doesn't fit, and I don't know if it's just because we grew up with the nostalgia of it, or what, but I just feel like you can't make something like that serious, especially when you've already established it's supposed to be fun.
Right.
And you know, this killer, you know, I mean, Freddy Krueger is supposed to be like this, you know, wisecracking one joke, you know.
Right.
When you've already established a character like that, you can't go back,
and
in my opinion.
And if you're gonna try and give us something new, then give us something new from everything else that's out there. They just made Freddy into a generic slasher.
Yeah,
like,
they did.
He could have been anyone. You didn't understand the source material.
No,
sir.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, again, you did not understand the source material, because it's like, yeah, okay, it was fun, it was campy, but it was also terrifying, and it still had a serious element to it. So it's like you're right. Did not understand the source material. Just, god damn, this was so bad, and it only got 15%.
I believe it.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
Still seems high.
Yeah, no, this movie belongs in the fucking garbage.
Yeah, shouldn't have been made. My number one is also a remake, and it's Cabin Fever from 2016.
Okay.
It has a 12% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. And I feel like if we're going to constantly put down the Psycho remake, rightfully so, for being an unoriginal shot-for-shot bullshit, I think that Cabin in the Woods deserves that as well. Because...
Cabin Fever.
Cabin Fever.
Right.
Sorry. Cabin in the Woods I love.
I was like, that's a great film.
Cabin Fever. It was on the other day because it was like the 11-year anniversary of it, I watched Cabin in the Woods. So it's like in my... I know, it's like in my head. But, no, Cabin Fever, the original was whatever. It was an okay movie. I liked it. I more liked it because Ryder Strong was in it. I was big on Sean from Boy Meets World.
Hell yeah.
But I think that what makes Cabin Fever even worse than the Psycho remake is that Eli Roth is the one behind both. Like, why are you remaking your same movie again, dude? And not only remaking it worse. Like, the characters were worse. The acting was worse. The story was worse. Even while being almost beat-for-beat remake.
Right.
And this one didn't even have Ryder Strong in it, so fuck you.
Yeah, I loved the original Cabin Fever. I thought it was awesome. So I'm not going to lie, I'm not entirely sure why he decided to do it. Maybe because, you know, to be fair, you know, as, you know, a film director, I'm sure... when they look back, you know, on a lot of their movies, a lot of the work they've done.
I could have improved this. Okay, then improve it. Don't make the exact same movie.
I was like, improve it maybe, like, with a different movie. You know what I mean? Like, but then again, it's all creative. You know, it's all creative you know, like, the perspective. And, you know, and I'm sure clearly Eli Roth was not happy with his original product, so he decided to remake it. And that's... it's like, I'm not sure why he did. But hey.
Because, at least you liked the characters in the first one, and you kind of felt bad for them as they're all dying and stuff, and then when Ryder Strong or whatever gets shot at the end, you're like, no. But in this one, when the guy gets shot at the end, you're kind of like, okay, good, it's over.
Right. Thank God. Yeah. Like, thank Christ. Yeah.
Like, it just, I don't know what he did. Like, I don't know if he directed both or just wrote both. I don't know what his role here was, but dude...
You know, and that kind of sucks, because, like, Eli Roth is awesome. Like, Eli Roth makes great fucking films. You know, I mean, he's...
Apparently, I like the original.
So talented. Listen, Eli, you're never gonna see this, and it's okay. I've accepted that. You know, you didn't have to, dog. You really didn't.
You really didn't have to.
You're a great filmmaker. A lot of people love you. Yep. You know, you don't have to keep beating yourself up. It's okay, Eli. We're all behind you.
We like the original Cabin Fever. Yes. We did. We promise. Like, you didn't have to do this.
Oh, it was.
And we like your other movies. Please don't remake those either.
We love Hostel. Hostel was awesome. We still like you. It's like, we still think you're very talented.
I just don't know why you did this. Like, why did you make Cabin Fever twice?
Such is life.
But whatever.
We forgive you.
Right. All right. So next episode, we're going to count down the worst horror of the 2000s. Make sure you stay tuned for that next week. Make sure you like and subscribe, ring the bell so you get notified when our episodes come out. And anything to add?
I don't. Yeah, I already hashed out what I needed to. I feel better.
We got it off our chests. All right, so everyone have a good night, good fight.
I had an idea like that once, a long time ago.
Really? What was it, Tom?
Well, all right. It was a jump to conclusions mat. You see, it would be this mat that you would put on the floor and would have different conclusions written on it that you could jump to.